At 36 at Mildenhall, so
Indeed, it's still going to be a struggle to get for all cars to get round. Right, so let's have a look at the consolation semi, and obviously there's a few big names in there, which didn't make the cut at Skegness, and there was a few names which was quite a surprise to do so. And one was actually leading his semi-final. Well, there's three leaders in the semi-finals in that mix as well. Because you've got the top three, obviously done in reverse points, or it's done in actual the way that they finished the World Championship qualifying round points is how they determine the grid. It used to be a graded race once upon a time, but now it's they've seen sense and obviously given the people who've done better the better chance of getting through the second time.
yes, I mean, I can remember banging on behind the scenes for many years. Hey, why on earth is this still a graded race? It got changed, and yes, we've got Dave Polly on pole position. Let's be honest, if Dave's car hadn't have let him down, he was probably going to win that semi-final, and I would say it would be a major surprise if he doesn't win the consolation semi-final.
It's only if he doesn't turn up. I think he is going to. He was saying to me at Taunton on Sunday that, oh, I don't know. But I've got a feeling he's got to be there, if only to be in the shake-up of things come the end, or to.
He did tweet this week that he is going. He booked in on Monday, so yeah, he's going to be there.
Excellent. So Dave Polly's there. Alongside him, another man that was leading all but briefly for one corner. I don't think he wanted to leave airborne, but that's what he did. Andrew Palmer.
Yes, and then I think it was a consequence of that riding over the top of George McMillan, which ultimately down the line in the race broke his prop shaft. But it was quite probable that it would be conceivable that that damage was interlinked. But yeah, again, very fast. Yes, shale is his bag more than tarmac, but I would be again surprised if he doesn't qualify from where he is on that grid.
Well, we're looking at the grid now. We've got the names. Obviously, one name now does stick out, but we do have to mention that he is the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, Rob Speak, it's probably not going to be racing at Hensford.
I think it's a bit more than probably not. As far as we're aware, I mean, yes, there was the game of will he, won't he last year, but let's not lose sight of the fact he had qualified last year. He was inside second row. This year he hasn't qualified. He's consolation semi-final. He doesn't have a tarmac car available to him, and a whole host of other reasons and whys and what fors as well. And if he goes against what I've been told, and he does turn up on Saturday, then you can strike me down, but as far as I know and as far as I'm aware, no, Rob Speak is not going.
Yes, and it is a shame, but I think in many ways it's probably right, because for too many years now it's been you know who versus you know who, and it's been concentrating on those two guys when in fact, well, the other people that come through and steal the limelight from them, which is great. But we should be talking about every competitor in that world final, not just two. And that's my big thing about it now, because it's great. It's a saga. It's thinking like this, but like all good television programs, they've got to end sometime.
Yes, and it ended on the track shop bend at Skegness, I think it's probably fair to say.
I th-
Quite what was going through Rob. Well, we know what was going through Rob's head there, but even a lot of Rob's own fans were in despair over that one.
yeah,
So,
I think it's a,
you know,
a step too far, I thought. But
yes.
who knows? That car might still have an effect. But we'll come to that later.
But he is on pole position for the Formula One world, and that is his main priority.
And I've got a feeling he may. And it's just my sneaking suspicion. I think it's going to be his year, or it may be Dan. Well, everyone's saying Dan Johnson, but Formula One ones we might get into that next week, because obviously F1 World Week next week. But let's have a look at some of the other favourite runners. We've also got Rob Mitchell, Don't forget, Rob Mitchell's second in the world final. A couple of years back.
Yes, that's right. But Rob, very much a tarmac man. He is very much a tarmac man. Correct myself, very much a shale man. He has won a race on the tarmac, or in fact the concrete, as it was at Taunton this year. But really, with some of those that are behind him, such as Luke Wrench, potentially Lewis Geach, Ashley England, Mark Gibbs,
Yes.
Cy Harraway,
Craig Wallace.
with Craig Wallace. With all due respect to Rob, because he is a superb driver on the shale and he is coming along nicely on the tarmac, experience full stop. With all due respect to Rob, I can't really see him beating some of those around Hennesford.
Look out next year, though, I would say.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Or indeed next week.
Oh, yes, the World of Shell. Yes, indeed. Now, yes, you mentioned Luke Wrench, another quick drive around there. Like I say, he's very quick. Simo, reliable veterans, done enough of these consolation semis to last him a lifetime. And of course,
much the same as Rob, though. I don't know what car he will have. I noticed that Barry Clough is not on the list to attend, so I assume he's probably got the sort of the Randall
hire car,
that Simo used at the European that Barry Clough had in the semis. So we presume that'd be the car. But
I'm hoping Lewis Geach keeps a level head and gets in, because he's done a superb job, and obviously one of his best races this year was at Hensford.
Yes, where without the succession of yellow flags, he would have won the qualifier off yellow, fair enough, but he would have won the qualifier by a country mile.
Yes.
So,
I think Aaron Veit is suspended.
Yes, Aaron Veit is suspended,
so
yes.
We won't be seeing him. Unfortunately, Ashley England, good chance that we'll see him, and he's, like I say, he's been one to watch, one of the young guns.
Quite what happened to Ashley England on semi-final day. I say he just went from being, he was just practically invisible on semi-final day, so he'll need to be a lot more visible to get through there. I would say he will, but I say if he has another day like he did at Skegness on semi-final day, then he won't.
Craig Wallace, again, I think he will need. He's got the potential to do it. It's just hope that he doesn't get in somebody else's accident, because that seems to be what he seems to do when the big races come along. He seems to...
And I believe he hasn't raced at Hennesford either.
He's done Birmingham, I know that.
Yes, he hasn't yet to race at Hennesford.
Right, well, then we got obviously Gibbo. Lovely to see him on the grid again, because there's never one better than his smiling. Chris,
absolutely, and his hats. Yeah.
Chris Utley. Well, of course, Dennis Midler. Very unlucky not to get through the race itself. He was in the it was a real good old scrap between seventh to about 12th in his semi-final, and he was 7th and then ended up 11th. So that's really the kind of sickest of them all. Obviously, there, Cy Haraway, another quick tarmac driver, and I think Hensford will be very much suited to his style.
Yes, I would have said so. I'm not 100% sure he's actually raced at Hennesford.
I don't think he has either. I don't know whether he was at the. I don't think he was at the August meeting, was he? No.
No, he wasn't, and he didn't do the qualifier either, because he had the maximum score at Birmingham the night before.
And he had to go to Gymkhana the following day.
There you go. Well, family commitments. But yeah, again, yes, very fast tarmac driver who is really starting to come along at Taunton now, which wasn't his kind of track. So yeah, I would, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him make it through to the world. And some of the rest here really are going to be relying on a lot of chaos ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Robbie Dawson. I'm looking at James Ryger, Steve Gilbert. I know
James Ryger is he. The last time I looked at the list, he hadn't put his name down.
No, I don't think. He was muttering that he wasn't. Another one that isn't. I don't think it's Steve Gilbert. I don't think he. Looks like I don't know, that may change. Sometimes Steve, unfortunately, does change his mind at the last minute. But I think Steve is basically said, nah, it will just kill me.
I don't blame him, because like I say, we've mentioned all of those names. We've got to bear in mind we're talking of 6 places, and like I say, with all due respect to a lot of these drivers that are further back, they're all highly capable, but it's a tall order.
It is indeed.
Unless it's like the consolation semi-final was last year at Cowdenbeath, which I don't think it will be. Then, because obviously last year we had the situ of Nathan Maidment, who didn't even take part in a semi-final, but he was on semi-final night as a reserve, so thus could do the consolation semi-final. Actually ended up qualifying for the world final, having not done a semi-final. I think the one and only driver ever to have done.
I think that is the case. Yes, I mean, it's a great rule that if you do turn up as a reserve, that you do have the opportunity to do this, because it does allow, people then do turn up as a reserve, but so they're the people that go, I can't be bothered, I'm only going to be 9th reserve. Every reserve was used at Skegness.
Exactly, yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
So that was the consolation semi discussed in great detail. We'll be back with more kind of action and the rest of it, and I'll clear my throat, and that'll be easy. It's what happens when you're eating a curry halfway through. You get all clogged up, and you also get stuck coughing. I'm going to go get myself a lager. There's a break coming now. Missed an episode of Stocks Radio? I feel your pain, brother. Missing an episode can bring on mental episodes and life-changing circumstances. However, there is a solution on the horizon. iTunes! Simply open up iTunes, go to podcasts and search for Stocks Radio. Hit subscribe and it doesn't cost you a penny. And the next episode is dropped straight into your listening device. Rate, review and subscribe and never miss an episode again.
Warning, missing an episode doesn't actually bring on mental episodes. Your experience may differ. The endotox can go down as well as up. Your home is at risk if you set fire to it.
Been a horrendous crash flash! This is Roscoe P. Coltrane!
The F2 Show.
Keep shouldn't be at the meeting.
Anyway, we're going to go. We're having real good fun and I love you, boy.
Right then, my big freak, like that, a game of racing.
Welcome back to the F2 show. Jonny Hoare with you. Good evening. It is the World Final preview show here on Stocks Radio. We're having a bit of fun tonight, trying to predict who's going to win the World Final. And that could well be an art to itself. Now, many have tried, many have gone, and there seems to be about online at the moment. There seems to be about 5 or 6 different schools of thought. Now, we'll look and see what happens in that, and we'll take in predictions towards the end of the show. But we're after your memories tonight. You can get in contact with the show in the usual manner, which is Spreaker.com/Stocks Radio. Click on the speech bubble bit of the link, and you too can end up listening to that. It's going to be the first of 3 shows over the next 3 days, basically, or 4 days, depending on when I actually get round to it. But certainly today is just the preview show. Tomorrow we will have all the interviews, all the big names, and the race. Not live. As live, but we will get it back to you online quicker than, hopefully by before midnight, because it does look as though the final is going to be around about 6 p.m. and the racing could be all over and done with by 8:30. That's, of course, if things go according to plan. Now, I do hope that it does, because obviously everyone's got the things like that, but if you're staying over, then great. If you're not, then you're just doing the one in a day. I'm only doing the Saturday. But, yes, should all be a bit of fun, and that's the main thing. So, let's now rejoin our little chat with Mr. Linfield. And he and I start picking out rows 10 to 5. Well, basically from 10th to 5th in the semi-finals going forward. So that's row 14? I'm not too sure. I haven't got a grid in front of me, but we'll start there after the consolation semis. We'll get on to the international entries after that, and then we'll talk about the front four rows, and then a few more memories. Then we'll get predicting. So, rows 10 to 4, well, basically places 10 to 4, now discussed in great detail. There you have it. So that's a consolation semi. Let's go through the grid now. Obviously, we've got our foreigners, which we'll talk about in a moment. Good.
Yes, because they're going to play a major role in this.
I've got a feeling they will, yes. But let's start with row 14. Outside, Lee Dimmock.
A driver who cut his racing teeth at Hendersford.
Yes, indeed.
Knows his way around this track more than any other. A very fast tarmac driver.
Yeah, and
and all of that has to count for something.
Local track knowledge will certainly play into his hands. I mean, I hope if there is absolute carnage ahead, and we get a Buxton-style start, and we wipe out half the field and the first 3 rounds, he might well be not in the shake-up, but certainly in the make-up for a placing. Certainly.
Yes.
Alongside him, one of the most improved Scottish drivers this year, Stevie Forster.
Yes, first world final for Stevie Forster. One of the real backbone racers, not only in Scotland, but one of those that really has kept the ship afloat at Barford this year as well. Because suffice to say, they've not had the best of years at Barford, but Stevie has been one of the drivers that has kept it going there. So thoroughly deserved.
And speaking of North East drivers, Stevie Forster.
Not that you see him in the North
East.
No,
much, not indeed. I think the closest you get till he gets to North East is Sheffield. That's Sam Wagner.
Yeah, Sam really has become a shale star this year, to the point where I've probably, if I was to put my 20p on someone, I would have it on him for the world of shale at Kings Lynn next week.
Yes. Yeah.